try to figure out information. That's what it means to analyze. So the artifact we're looking at is from the Sumer civilization or the Sumer Empire. So this is the first ancient civilization we're going to be learning about. The civilization is called Mesopotamia. And one of the empires within Mesopotamia or civilization was the Sumer. Sumer was an ancient civilization founded in the Mesopotamia region of the Fertile Crescent, situated between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. So here is the Euphrates River. Here's the Tigris. And here's the Nile. And you notice this green area. The green area is the Fertile Crescent. And the reason why that region is called the Fertile Crescent is because the soil around the rivers was very rich in nutrients. The soil was very fertile, so it was great for growing crops. Now, before that, people, 10,000, 12,000 years ago, before that, they were hunters and gatherers, so they would travel for food and travel to hunt. But when they found all of this rich soil, they were able to settle. They could grow crops and grow it in surplus, have extra food. They didn't have to move or migrate anymore. So because they had more food and because they had more time on their hands, because they weren't traveling, then people had more time to create artwork, to think about the meaning of the world and create religion, create writing, make their own governments, things like that. So known for their innovations in language, governance, architecture, and more, Sumerians are considered the creators of civilization as modern humans understand it. So we're going to analyze, we're going to do an analysis of this object. So let's go back to your worksheet. And I put the questions in the Google Doc for you. I thought it might be easier. You could do this a couple ways. You could split the screen, right? You could have half the screen with your worksheet and half the screen with this video and listen to me. You could watch the video and write on a piece of paper and then write it in here. Or you don't have to watch this video. You could just answer the questions directly. But I was telling everyone in class, there's no right or wrong answer. I just want to see effort. I want to see your thoughts. I want you to be curious about this artifact. The reason why I chose this artifact is because it's kind of hard to tell what it is. If I showed you a piece of pottery or like tools or, a spear or a sword, you would know what that is. We have things like that today. This thing is kind of unusual, so I wanted you to not overthink it. I also like this artifact because, and I'll tell you at the end, I like this artifact because archaeologists found some of these cone-shaped things by themselves, and they had made a decision. They were like, this is what it is. Well, they realized they were actually wrong the first time. Years later and miles away, they found an old temple. It's an ancient building, and they found some of these cones in the temple. And with that extra context, understanding the use for them, they actually realized that they were wrong the first time, and they realized the actual purpose of this artifact. So I'll tell you at the end. I don't skip ahead. I just want you to have fun with it and be, curious and adventurous with your thoughts. Pretend you're an archaeologist, okay? So go to your worksheet, look at this object. You're going to fill out the first column. You're going to observe. Describe what you see. What do you notice first? Would you describe it as a cone? Or maybe it's a carved tooth, a carved bone. Is it stone? Is it cement? Is it clay? Is it wood? What objects are shown? So is that writing? Are those pictures? Do you see words? What other details can you see? You can pause the video and write down your observations. but I'm going to move on to the next slide. So the next column, we're going to reflect. What do you think this object was made of? Once again, is it bone? Is it stone, clay, cement, wood? What is the purpose of this object or artifact? So some people, someone guessed a vase. Someone guessed a torch holder, like you'd put flames at the top. Someone guessed a peg leg. What do you think of other things? Someone guessed it might be a weapon of some kind. When do you think it was made? So it was about the time when the Sumerian civilization, it's a Sumerian artifact. So the Sumerians came to be about 5,000 years ago. So that would be the latest, the farthest back in time, but it could be close, you know, the civilization existed for a long time. So maybe it's 3,000 years old, who knows? So continuing with this reflection, what tools were used to create this? Do you think they carved it? Do you think they stamped it? What can you learn from examining this image? So what do you see that can clue you in to what this object might be? The next one, what's missing from this image? So what could be helpful to help you figure out what this artifact is? If you saw a person using it, do you think you would be able to tell what it is? Do you think if you saw it in a scenery, would you maybe be able to tell what this is a little bit better? If someone made this today, what would be different? What would be the same? And you don't have to answer every single one of these questions. I just want to see real curiosity and thought written down. I want to see effort. I'm sorry if you just heard my cat sneeze. All right, and you can pause the video or rewind, but I'm going to move on. So the third column, I want you to question, write out questions you might have. So it could be anything, you know, who made this artifact? Who found it? What is this artifact? What is it made of? When was this artifact made? When was it found? Where was this artifact found? Where was it made? Why did someone create this? Why did someone find this to be important? How was it made? How did they find it? You know, where is this object today? Like, what museum is it in? What country is it in? So write out any questions, be curious. You can pause the video if you need. So here's the answer. It is a Sumerian clay nail or foundation peg. So the Sumerian clay nail foundation pegs have cuneiform inscriptions. Cuneiform, it's sometimes called, the British call it cuneiform, so you might hear me say it that way, but cuneiform is the way we say it. Cuneiform is this right here, these carvings, and that is the first ever written language, which is kind of crazy. So they used to make like triangle shapes and different marks to keep track of exchanging of food, and it developed into the first ever written language. So these pegs with cuneiform inscriptions were used by the Sumerians and other Mesopotamian cultures 4,000 years ago. Named by archaeologists as clay nails or foundation pegs, these cone-shaped dedication artifacts were made of clay and inscribed with cuneiform. They were engraved, baked, and then inserted into the mud brick walls to serve as evidence that the temple or building was a divine property of the god to whom it was dedicated. So originally, archaeologists just found the cones by themselves, and they thought it might be a stamp. They thought maybe they used some kind of ink or paint, some kind of dye, and to either stamp or roll it. But then they found the cones in this temple, and there's linguists and archaeologists that try to translate the cuneiform. They believe that what's written on the cones are blessings, and there's blessings and dedications to the god that the temple was made 4. So there's different temples for different gods. And then I think I have a video. It's just like a 30-second video just showing you all the different, there's different sizes, made from different materials. And they're found in different civilizations. So some of the Egyptians have something similar, Babylonian civilization, which you'll learn about. So I don't know, I just thought it was kind of fun because you can't really tell what it is right off the bat. So let me switch back to the worksheet. So just to review, you can put these answers down if you want, but you're supposed to be writing examples of historical sources you might use to learn about history. Label it with a P if it's a primary source or an S if it's a secondary source. Sometimes they can be both, depending. And you can write it like that with a P/S. And then you're going to do this primary source analysis. And I put these questions here. Don't just answer one sentence. Try to get some words down. Put some effort into this. This is a 15-point assignment. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can message me or Mrs. Staffen. You've got the printable version of this worksheet, the Google Doc version. I've got the copy of the slides there. The videos will be posted there. So you should be able to complete this on your own. I hope this was helpful. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.